Good morning. It is Hannah from Communication Wise. I am happy to be back. Last week was the week of Thanksgiving, so I really didn't get a chance to do a live video. I did do an interview with my friend Reina Pathan from the UK, which was fun. And now I am back with my talk for this week. And it's going to be a little different. So I don't know if you know, but the all my previous talks were about how to interact with other persons. Wise communication, wise. How do you talk to another person so that they hear what you have to say? And how do you listen to another person so that they feel heard? If you have a conflict with another person, how do you go about it? What is more important? Do you want to just reach your goal and don't care about the relationship, or do you also care about the relationship and do you want to collaborate and negotiate with that other person so that you get what you want and they get what they want as well? I have also discussed a few times like what I call storytelling. So when you see another person behaving in a certain way, that you can be very aware of what we tell ourselves about that behavior. We are adding motives of, why they are doing what they are doing. And we are adding a judgment, is this good or bad within our own value system? So you want to be aware of that, because that is all part of communication, because you're going to respond in a certain way because you have either told yourself a story to what you just saw and heard another person do or say. So that is all interaction with between you and another person. And then there is a little bit of what do you say to yourself about another person's behavior, which is that storytelling that I just talked about. Now today is a little bit different because we also talk to ourselves all day, right? You wake up, you start with thoughts, you go throughout your day and you talk to others, but you mainly talk to yourself because that's all these thoughts that are coming in our heads, and you just want to be aware of that. Now, now my question is, how do you talk to yourself? How do you communicate with yourself? How does that internal conversation go? And I am not a psychologist. I am not, a person that has studied internal human communication. But I do, of course, have my own experiences, and I do want to share that. And I'm hoping that you can relate and then also get that awareness of how you talk to yourself. So I'm gonna give you a couple very simple examples of the way we treat ourselves versus the way we treat others, the way we talk to others, and the way we talk to ourselves. So to give you a very simple example of how I used to talk to myself, is that I would have way higher standards of how I should be for myself. Not even compared to others, but how I should be, and that can be for example, if I would wake up with a pimple in my face, which really doesn't happen, I'm very blessed, I would walk around thinking and being conscious of that pimple all day. And I would even, feel a little less good about myself that day. Whereas if I see somebody else and they have a pimple, I probably won't even notice. And if I do notice, it doesn't matter. You know, they are not that pimple. They are who they are. And this is funny because I talked to my neighbor. We were both, you know, walking outside. It's December. It's, you know, winter here. And it was that like late afternoon sunlight. And so I saw her and I said, wow, you look beautiful. Your skin is so clear and glowy and it looks really good. And she's like, are you making fun of me? Because I have a huge, she had like a pimple here or something. She's like, I have a huge pimple here. Don't you see that? And I said, oh, I said, well, now I see it. I said, but still, your skin looks really good. And she's like, oh, thank you. Whereas if I would walk around with that, I would be thinking about that all day as well. And so I wouldn't think that my skin was so clear. Now I know this is just appearance and you are who you are, and that's not necessarily, you know, that pimple in your face. But it also goes about behavior and about standards for yourself. So when others do things, I'm not instantly thinking like, that's bad, that's good, and I would never do that. And you know, sometimes you do think that, but usually you're just like, oh well, and you just go about your day. But I could spend hours on end punishing myself, feeling bad about myself for things that I had already done that cannot be changed, but I just, you know, couldn't get over it or couldn't let it go, and then was focusing on it way too much and punishing myself. So for example, I value health. I value, you know, a healthy body, and that goes with, you know, eating healthy. But I also like chocolate and I like potato chips and I like other things that are not necessarily good for my body. So what I used to do was, you know, overindulge, you know, eat too much of basically everything, then work out or like feel really bad and then like work out excessively, go to the gym or go for a run, but like really like not in a sort of like positive way, but more like I need to do this because I did something bad. Like the whole like those thoughts would just go on and on in my head. And then I would, you know, sort of like starve myself until I started eating and eating too much. So, you know, not overly healthy, especially not because I was like constantly thinking about that. So this became a cycle of, you know, overeating, working out excessively, and then starving myself, and then do it all and over again. And this went on for a long time. So just one day I woke up and I was thinking about it like, wow, this is a ridiculous cycle. I do too much of everything. And so, but it starts with the thoughts, you know, it starts with how you talk to yourself. And I had sort of like come to the realization that I had been too strict and too unforgiving to myself about things that were already done. And so this awareness slowly but steadily led to, you know, healthier actions. Like I said, like just less of everything. And I started to talk to myself in a kinder way. I literally told myself, I forgive you. I forgive myself. And then basically just treat myself as anybody else. And also to others, you know, I started like, instead of like saying like hurtful, funny, like remarks about my shortcomings, I started just to be nicer and less judgmental, you know, less like, I did this bad, I did that. No, like I just forgave myself for a lot of things that I just not have handled well according to my standards in the past, but they're already done and I can do better, but I can't like keep blaming myself for the things that I've already done. So And so the really cool thing about this, and then like back to interactions with others, you know, wise communication with others, I also became a lot nicer to others, less judgmental, more attentive, and more forgiving to the people that I do love, the people that I care for, and just strangers in general. Because if you feel better about yourself, you just feel better about the world around you. And so, I also believe, and this is my personal belief, and you don't have to agree, but like when I am able to just give, you know, whatever it is to others, then they feel better about themselves and they can pass that on. And so I say this all to say that self-care is not selfish, because I believe that when we are all nicer to ourselves, we can like just solve those internal conflicts by like looking at what are my standards, what is my behavior, can I lower my standards, or can I alter my behavior, and then like solve that internal conflict so that is out of the way, and we have more attention for others. What do others need? What can I do about that? You know, how can I serve or help others better, because I don't have any issues within myself. And of course, you know, they'll come up, but because I'm aware of what I tell myself and how I treat myself, I can just get over it easier and get back to, you know, like just feeling better and then giving more. And so I feel like that's the full circle of it. If we are all eventually here to serve, right? Because I sort of do believe that we're all here to serve, to some sort of care for others in our lives, then we have to feel good about ourselves. We have to have this level of like self-acceptance. And that comes with, how do you talk to yourself? You know, be just nice to yourself. Forgive yourself for what you didn't do according to your standards. You know, up your behavior or lower your standards, but, you know, just solve that internal conflict so that, you know, you can take better care of others. It's like that chicken and the egg too, because when you take care of others, you feel better. But when you feel better about yourself, you're better able to take care of others too. I don't know where it starts, but we can do both, you know, it's all doable. So, what I just said, I'm gonna put it in a blog, and I am going to post it on Friday so you can read it over. I'll put it on my website, and I'll also put it on Facebook, and so you can read it over. And for now, thank you for watching. I'm happy to be back, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.